Welcome back to The Varied Life. This is another Lightburn lesson, how to make the perfect transparent text slot on images. So let's get to it. Welcome back to The Varied Life. I am Steve, the retired hobby tech guy, and today we're going to be talking about Lightburn textifying your images. In other words, we're going to be crafting the perfect slot for your words within Lightburn. And you can get something kind of like this here. Kind of a cool graphic, but you want a little slot that you could add some text to personalize some products, either for family, friends, or maybe you're doing a side gig. So with that being said, let's jump into Lightburn and I'll show you how it works. Okay, the first thing that we have to do when we come into Lightburn is we need an image. So we're going to go ahead and drag this image in here. It's a little bit large, so we're going to resize that by just going up to the top here and changing the width, the lock, so the aspect ratio is locked together. And what we want with this image is, let's say we want to engrave this on slate, but down here on this area is where we want to have a slot to be able to put some text to personalize this object. So we're going to leave that up there for now. And now we're going to go down here to the circle, hold shift, we'll bring this out like so. And we'll make that a line, make sure that it's selected, and we'll bring it about to the middle there. And now what we can end up doing is creating the text slot, whatever you want to end up calling it. But we're going to kind of use this as a template. Now we're going to end up, and we're going to take the rectangle bar, and we will drag and drop it. Let's say that's where we want that right there. We can hit the select tool. So that way we could move this around, but I think this, and we're good to go. So now that we have the placement of our text box, what we can end up doing is sliding this off, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. And we go back to our two images, our circle and our rectangle. So the next step is we're going to click and do the green box, drag from the bottom right to the upper left, so both of these are selected. And now we're going to go is over here to the left side where it has our Boolean function of welding all these shapes together. Now you might think that welding shapes together, the shapes must be touching or interacting with each other, but they don't. And there comes the secret. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And it's already grouped together as we see up here. So now we're going to go back to our image. We'll select that and we'll drag this down. And just to show you that this works, now we're going to take the image and we're going to mask it to the shape that we just welded together. So we have our graphic selected and we hit shift and we can select our shapes, or you could just green box everything together. And what we could end up doing is right clicking, come down to apply mask to the image, and there it is. We click off and we click onto the image, and now we can set this wherever we want, and we're happy with it. Again, we can select everything. Last step is to flatten the image to the mask. So we right click, hit flatten image mask, and now it's done. It is a done deal. And now we're able to resize. We can personalize this with text. So let's go through and we'll add some text and put Wilson family Korea adventures, and we'll put that in the center. We'll go ahead and we'll make this a fill, and then we could adjust this text to whatever size that we want. So we could stretch it out a little bit here. We could fill up that frame and have it like so. Everything's good to go. We've made that slot for our text, and if we look at our preview, we can see that that will turn out really well. Now, there's another thing that you can end up doing, and let's go ahead and go to part 2 of this. Let's say we don't want a rectangle. We want to change that shape a little bit, so it's not as boring rectangle that we end up having. So let's go ahead and we'll delete everything. I'm not going to bore you with redoing everything, just a little admin note. Please like and subscribe to The Varied Life. I would really appreciate that. And if you're so inclined, you can buy us a coffee if you check the link in the description box down below. With that being said, let's continue on and show you how we can tweak the rectangle so it's not a rectangle. So now that we've done that, we want to change the shape of the rectangle. And that's where we come over here to where it says Shape Properties. Now on shape properties, you can do some minor adjustments to the shape, and you could adjust the width, the height, like you can up here on the top left. But now we can play with the corner radius. So if we click the little toggle, and we can round the corners as we see here on our shape. And inversely, if we go the other direction, it'll make that shape to where it's like pointed, or we could have kind of like a little indentation, or again, it's something different than just a plain rectangle. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. And we will off click, we will draw our green box, left click and drag. We will go over here to the weld all selected images. So we've got that. We will bring our image down here, and what we'll end up doing is selecting all of these, and we'll hit apply mask to the image. We select our image, and now what we can end up doing is dragging this to where we want it. And it looks like, let's just call it a done deal right there. So yeah, another way in which you can create a slot for text that is a little bit different than having just a rectangle. You can change some of the shapes and things like that. So yeah, a pretty great way to do this. And once this is all done, you can highlight everything and flatten the image mask. And now you can resize this to whatever you want. And the other cool thing is it's not that hard to do. Yeah, we got some cool stuff that we ended up doing using Lightburn. And as far as like creating the slot like we see here on the Dragon Lord, and then we also, what we just finished doing is creating the graphic with a text slot that we have right there. So yeah, another cool little Lightburn lesson that I just recently learned. Matter of fact, I was racking my brain for a number of days on how to do this. I went to the Facebook groups and asking the question. There were so many people who are like, no, you got to use Adobe, you got to do Photoshop. Oh, you need to get Inkscape, and you got to work with layers and this and that. And I'm like, I'm a simple guy. Is there a way to do this in Lightburn? And there was a guy, his name was Greg H., and he was like, hey, here's how you do it. And as soon as I saw that, I got onto Lightburn this morning, played around, and boom, I was able to get it to work. So many thanks to Greg for giving that information and sharing that, and I just thought I would share that with everybody as well. So if you got anything out of this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, The Varied Life, that I have on YouTube. I would appreciate that. And here are some people, awesome people, who I have much respect for, who have bought me coffees: Tim R., Terry, Someone, Jeremy Y., John and Kyung Sun, Jim D., Mike H., Fred J., and I've also had some other people send me money through PayPal and some other things. So hats off to them. And I do stuff besides these Lightburn lessons, laser engraving. I also do resin printing, painting miniatures. But now recently I'm on the laser engraving kick, so we're kind of jumping off into that. But this is how you can textify an image to be able to put text in a slot, in a graphic, and mask at the same time. I mean, that's just kind of a cool thing to personalize products for gifts, or maybe you're doing it as a side gig, and that's kind of cool. So we're going to leave you with that. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.